I'm going to show you how to make a fermented nut cheese today, and it really tastes like a really decadent cream cheese. The flavoring that I'm going to use is roasted garlic and seaweed. You can use any flavor profile. I have another recipe on my website where it's caramelized onion, and it's like that French onion dip sort of a flavor, and that's the texture you're going to get as well. I find it's really good scooping it out. It's not really something I put on a sandwich. It's more like a delicious spread. So what I've done is I've soaked 1 cup of cashews in non-chlorinated water, because non-chlorinated water means that it's pure and it won't affect the ferment. Chlorination kills bacteria, good and bad. And when we're fermenting foods, we're trying to get that good bacteria to grow, and then also when we eat it, that good bacteria in our stomach. So we want to give it the best chance it can, and that's why we use non-chlorinated water. So I soak those probably 6 to 8 hours. They're fairly soft, so they absorb quite a bit of liquid easily. Then I roasted garlic, and all I did was 375 degrees in the oven. I put it, the bulb right in there, and I let it cook for 20-30 minutes until it's soft and creamy and caramelized. And then I literally, these are a couple of the cloves left, and I literally just squish it out. And you've got this wonderful, delicious garlic that you could actually spread on toast this way. It's really good. And I'm also using seaweed. And this is combo or dashi combo, and it comes in big sheets like this. I've just broken it down, and then I use a bit of coconut milk. And this is the full fat coconut milk, not the liquid, just the top portion, the solid portion. And I use about a tablespoon. Now you say, why would I want to open a can for just a tablespoon? But what I end up doing is then freezing the rest, and it makes an amazing whipped cream when you want. So the other thing I add is lemon juice, and then we have a bit of salt. And I'm going to reserve some of that seaweed to fold in at the end, because I want to have the texture and I want to be able to see it. So simple as putting it all into the blender together. And then how am I fermenting this? Well, it's not a wild ferment, because that only happens with vegetables and your sourdough. Those are wild ferments. What I have to do is add a culture. So you've got a few options. What I usually do is use my first ferment for my water kefir. Not everybody has kefir kombucha going. So another option is to use your brine from one of your lactobacillus ferments. And in an earlier video, we did this carrot and parsnip, really simple brine, salt, 2.5% salt to the water and the vegetables. And you know, I've eaten most of the vegetables now, so I've got this brine. Don't throw it away, it's living. Lots of healthy, good bacteria in there. So I can use that. Or if you don't have either of those, you can use a probiotic pill. And in a cheese like this, I'd probably use 2 pills. I'd open them up, and they come in capsules. And this is one way to, because probiotics are expensive. And you know, if I can take 2 of these pills and basically inoculate this whole cheese, you're going to get more value for that than just taking 1 a day or 2 a day that you normally do in your diet. Why not have it in some of the foods that you eat? And so I'm going to use the brine today, and I'm going to use 1/4 cup. So if I was using the water kefir, it'd be 1/4 cup. If I was using the 2 probiotic pills, I'd be using non-chlorinated water, and I would be using 1/4 cup of that. And you'll see the texture that it gets. To make a really smooth, creamy cheese, a Vitamix or a really high-powered blender are your best options. It's quite thick, that's why it took that long, and you need your tamper to keep creating air holes so that it sucks it down and makes it creamy. But you really want a creamy cheese. You do not want to leave any chunks in there. So as you can see, there's little flakes of the seaweed, it's nice to be able to fold in a little bit more, and then you definitely know what you're eating. And that seaweed will soften during the fermenting process. So then I take a jar, really simply. I'm just going to get this out of the way. And this jar has been, make sure they're clean, because you don't want to introduce any bad bacteria into your ferment. I'm going to scoop this out. Try to get it all, because cashews are extremely expensive, so we don't want to waste. And I didn't mention off the top, but it's raw cashews, not roasted. To do something like this, you're using raw cashews. So once I have all of this, and I'm not gonna, you don't have to painfully watch me get it out of the Vitamix. But what I will do is I will even it out, and then I will put a skim of olive oil on the top. And what that does is it seals the top. This is going to ferment for 72 hours, and that will prevent the chance of bacteria growing on the surface. So, like I said, I will fill the jar up, or fill it up with the rest, and then put a skim of olive oil on the top. Olive oil is a complementary flavor to this cheese, so it works well, and so it's not really changing anything. The other thing is, because I use the brine, I've reduced the amount of salt that I would put in, because it already has a salty taste. If I was using the probiotic, I would use the full salt, and same with the water kefir. So you'll play around with the taste. And I always, if you'll notice here, all my utensils are either plastic or glass. Metal adversely affects the fermentation. So we always want to use plastic or glass. So I will continue to fill this up, and then in 72 hours, I'll be able to eat it. I'll just seal it and put it into the fridge. To put it for fermenting, I have some cheesecloth, an elastic. I label it, and in 72 hours, I have my cheese. It's as simple as that.